we're going to start with prayer tonight. We're going to enter in. You guys that are visiting, this is a house of prayer. I want you to just get with somebody next to you. Come on, get with somebody next to you. Put your arm on them. Come on, just begin to pray in the Spirit. Begin to pray in the joy. Begin to stir up, stir
Excited to be in California, and I just feel like it's a timely moment right now. Several people asked me what I was doing, and I was like, well, I'm meeting a girl that I have never met. We only know each other on YouTube. And they're all looking at me like, seriously? Both of us were a bit nervous, given that we've never actually been in person with each other before. And Rozzy and I were talking about networking with prophetic painting, and as a result of that conversation, we were waiting on the Lord and just dreaming about a future painting that we're going to collaborate on to do together. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I just wanted to mention about networking is it takes some boldness to leave your comfort zone and connect with somebody new, and also for you to welcome somebody new.
Yeah.
There's this collaboration, a flexibility, allowing the Lord to lead, and a sense of timing was one of the things that we really felt like when the timing is right, it just flows. And when the door is open, just walk through it. Have that boldness to keep going. It takes some direction, but be led of the Lord. And then, but yet at the same time, there's flexibility in that. And so we're going to do this. So I'm going to have Rozzy share about what she felt from the Lord this morning about this painting, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. So first I was reading from Intimacy with Christ, Janine Guyon. Very, very just crazy, super anointed lady from the 1600s. And we read Don't Depend on Others for What You Need from God. This was one of the chapters that we read. So it says, I have no desire to plan to see you or not to see you. Let the Lord direct us. Are you trusting Him alone, or are you putting too much trust in me? And then just to paraphrase, she was just talking about, don't trust in man. Really look at what God is showing you. Don't put so much into relationship, that you have. It's good to get like a little push along the path, but be able to really push past and see what you're getting from them. And then, there's a time when it's just, okay, we can still remain friends, we're sisters in Christ, but it's time to really go on your own and really like to look to the Lord. And then the other one was it was called Fellowship of the Saints in God. And she was talking about a union which the Spirit fully responds to in an emotional way, but in deep peace. Not in an emotional way, but in deep peace. And that's the true fellowship of Christ. And there was something earlier that we were listening to, and he was talking about the, I forget what verse it was, but about the pureness.
Right, the purity, not being so much about keeping our lives clean, but about purity of focus, right?
Yeah.
And it was like a
single
eye to keep on the Lord. And this whole thing about relying on each other really hit me, because it's like sometimes it's really easy to have other people direct you or give you the word that they've already received from the Lord, but it's important that you yourself go before the Lord and really seek Him for what does He want you to do, what is He trying to speak to you about, and spending that time in His presence.
And so then we prayed and just got blasted by His Spirit, and we kept hearing creation.
Yeah.
Creator, creation. I was like, well, this is interesting.
Yeah.
And so when we prayed, I said, hold on a second. I'm hearing Psalm 104, and I'll share that with you real quick. And it was just pretty amazing. It's pretty long, but I'll read the first part of it. Let all that I am praise the Lord. O Lord my God, how great you are. You are robed with honor and majesty. You are blessed in a robe of light. You stretch out the starry curtain of the heavens. You lay out the rafters of your home in the rain clouds. You make the clouds your chariot. You ride upon the wings of the wind.
Yeah.
The winds are your messengers. Flames of fire are your servants. And then let me read the last part. You should definitely read this. It's a really, really good verse. And it talked all about creation, so that was just amazing right there. I will sing to the Lord as long as I live. I will praise my God to the last breath. May all my thoughts be pleasing to him, for I rejoice in the Lord. Let all sinners vanish from the face of the earth. Let the wicked disappear forever. Let all that I am praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Started talking about, ooh, we should do this in the painting, and what are you feeling, and I'm feeling this, and
Yeah. And then Rozzy had, we sketched it out, which is something that I need to do more of, and it was a good reminder to me. And just valuing, making sure that we keep each other's opinions and direction in there to accomplish the canvas. But with the creation groaning, it groans for the sons and daughters to be revealed. And I really feel like art is the kingdom of heaven manifesting on the earth in such a way that expresses the creative heart of God.
Yeah. And then the other thing that was interesting, one other quick side note, I don't know if you've seen the new Star Wars just yet, but the character in there, the main character, her name was Rey. And so I believe it was somewhere in the book Intimate with Christ, or maybe it was something else we were reading, but basically it was talking about that if God is the glory and Jesus is the sun, so it's almost like the sun, and that the believers are the rays of the light of the sun, which is of the glory of God. So it was really interesting because the girl in Star Wars, her name is Rey, and if you really look at that movie, it really depicts somebody finding their identity of who they really are, and that they had such a deep something was so deep inside them that they just they just kept fighting for what they believed was a part of them. So I just thought that was really interesting. So we're really excited for you guys to see this painting.
Yeah.
On the fly. Come on. If there's
deep and interesting journey personally here, and the Lord has been confirming to me really I know the reason why I'm here. It's a time to seek the Lord and get strategy for this year, and I'm just seeking the Lord. That is not wasting my time. That time in His presence is never wasted. To hear His voice, it is uninterrupted time with Him thus far. I have to admit that this journey has not been easy being here. It's been uncomfortable. Always when the Lord kind of interrupts you, or you sort of wham, run into Him, and He's inescapable, it's always a little uncomfortable. That God trains us to carry what we need to carry in our future by making us uncomfortable right now. and working those muscles, working them out, working it, working it. This whole idea of a fasted lifestyle, which includes time alone with him, which includes eating right and exercising regularly and saying no to things. This is about being called to something that's larger than yourself in this next season, because I feel if I want to go big, I need to train big. And that's not just physical. Admirable character, personal integrity, mature and stable, clarity of vision, and moral courage. Finding all these things. Being steady, fixed, resolved, unrelenting, relentless, bearing much fruit, remaining and being unwaveringly present in this moment, and moving past the sting of the past. And things that Rozzy has reminded me of, like I've lost that relationship with God, about seeking for that painting or seeking him. Like it's like I've left him out of the picture almost. And there was a disconnect in my relationship with him. And I've had a wall there, and the Lord has just hammered it. I've been in tears the vast majority of the time here, spending time in his presence and in his word, seeking his face and remembering that relationship with painting, and that it is about a relationship with him. It's networking with heaven, and I can't neglect that personal contact with him. The other thing that hit home with me was this whole idea about getting back to the vision and being true to who you are, and to it was so funny. She would climb the podium and she was hanging onto it. She's like, "Don't leave your post. I'm not gonna leave my post." She was crying out about this, right? And clinging and not letting go, and with all your might hanging on to that vision that the Lord has given you, and not letting anyone or anything distract you from that. Even if you're just holding onto it with a pinky finger, you're holding on, and just stand there and just stay firm, taking off that which is not God in your life. And so this whole week has been bang on what I've needed. Bang freaking on with what I've needed. Personally, I really like it. And I do feel like it's kind of like coming out of the darkness. There's a revelation, there's a flight, but it's all connected. And the longing for the sons and the daughters and the maturity to, come forth. Shaka.